Hey guys, what's happening? It's Polly at Polly's Gem Mint. You can find me on Instagram at Polly's Gem Mint. I'm here with a video today that I think you're going to be super interested in. What I've done is taken a couple of big cards. I've sent them off to PSA to see if we could swap these over from a BGS to PSA. Mixed results, I have to say. But for many people who are really interested in the possibility of crossing over or cracking and resubmitting to other companies, I think you guys will find this to be very interesting. And this is actually something that I think I'm going to do a lot more of going forward based upon the results here and results I've had in the past. And I think I'm going to highlight some of that stuff. I've already started purchasing some cards that I think may have a good shot of being able to crack and send. I've also received some of those cards and thought, you know what, I think they're graded appropriately and I don't think I want to take the risk. So I'll talk a little bit about the risk reward, why I chose to do this, and let you know the results here. So check it out. So I've got these two cards here. As you can see, both pretty sweet cards. The first one on the left is a 2019 Bowman. This is a Marco Luciano refractor auto out of $4.99. And the one to the right you see is a 2020 Panini Prism Joe Burrow autograph. Both reasonably good sized cards. You can see by the subgrades, one was better than the other. So the Marco Luciano, if you could see that there, the centering is a 9.5, the edge is a 10, the corner is 9.5, and the surface a 9.5. So let's focus on that one first. We can talk a little bit more in detail about why I decided to send this in. So I personally don't have much interest in a BGS slab. I'm very much interested in cards that I can flip over to PSA that I think have a good shot. This obviously is a true gem, and some people might take issue with me trying to swap this over to PSA because it's already a beautiful card, and I agree. And I'll show you in just a minute the risk. I'll just do it now. I just told you basically. So the risk that you have in trying to swap over to a different grading company is that it could always grade lower, right? And so I looked at this card in a PSA 10, probably about 2,800 or so. I've got two others at my house currently, part of my PC. I wanted another one. A 9, I placed probably about $750 or so. So you can see the delta there is pretty significant. So probably about $1,600, $1,700. The way I priced it at a BGS 9.5, however, was about $1,000. So isn't that interesting? A PSA 10, $2,800. BGS, about $1,000. Even with those subgrades, a true gem. That's how mispriced this market is. Or excuse me, how much premium a PSA 10 is getting over a BGS 9.5 true gem. And you know, it'll vary, but generally speaking, that I've seen that across sports, across players, for the most part. You know, BGS really isn't getting the same respect that it used to in the market, right? So if you take a look at those numbers, you know, $1,000, risking that to get a PSA 9 at $750, I'm really just risking the delta there, which is $250 plus the grading fee. Well, I spent $150 to grade this puppy, so $400 risked. If I were to sell this today, you know, I may be able to move it quickly, maybe not. Maybe you have to take a little bit less than $750 to move it, but just really to be conservative, $400 to $500 is what I lost. However, if this had graded to a PSA 10, it would have been about $2,800. You know, even if I had to take, I mean, it'd probably move pretty quickly. A lot of Luciano fans that would want a PSA 10 in this card. But let's just say I had to, you know, sell it for $2,700 or so. That would be a gain of $1,700, right? So I really risked about $500 to gain about $1,700, right? So that doesn't seem too bad, right? I mean, I love that risk reward, and I'll do that all day long, right? So I'll tell you what I found when I cracked this slab. Obviously, you can tell by looking through the slab. You can take a look at the centering, and I thought the centering was great. PSA would have no problem with that. The PSA 10, it looks almost like a 10 to me, 9.5, whatever. Well within the confines of getting a PSA 10. The edges being a 10, I looked through the BGS case and I saw it was the same. So I'll turn this around while I'm talking to you. So when I was looking at the edges, like I said, BGS had called it a 10 in terms of the edges. I saw the same. I didn't see any problems with it. And then with the corners, I looked, and the corners look great. I think PSA would have graded the corners a 9.5 to a 10 as well. The only thing that's left there is the surface. And BGS had considered this a 9.5 surface. You do your best to look through the case, but you don't always see everything. And that's one of the risks that you take on by cracking this slab. What I did find is there was a vertical line, print line, down the middle of it that I couldn't see through the BGS case. I'm actually surprised that BGS gave that surface a 9.5. So when I cracked it and I was considering, well, I'd already decided I was going to send it to PSA to try and get a PSA 10. I was immediately disappointed and thought, this is not something I'm confident is going to get a PSA 10. But at the same time, I was in a situation where what was I going to do then? Sell it raw, disclosing the print line? Was I going to send it back to BGS and hope that I get a true gem again and really just cracked it for no reason? Or to take the shot? And if I got a PSA 9, then I got a PSA 9 and I would sell it as is. So I did submit it to PSA hoping that they were lenient on that vertical print line. And they weren't. That came back a PSA 9, unfortunately. So that's the risk, right? The next one. This is the Joe Burrow. Now this I purchased for about $3,000. Okay, this is a BGS 9.5 with centering of 9.5, edges of 10, surface of 9.5, and corners of 9. Okay. The price of a PSA 10 is about $4,500 right now, and actually I think that will go up considering the game he just had. BGS 9.5 I think is about $2,500, so I think is actually lower than what I had paid for it. But I think I could have moved that BGS 9.5 with a 9 autograph for probably about $2,500. Bottom line, I kept looking at this BGS 9.5 and thinking, I would hate for this to come back a PSA 9, but I can't stand looking at an autograph of BGS 9. I actually didn't really even think that it deserved a 9, but the autograph runs off the sticker just a smidge, just a small little bit, enough to give it a 9. So the centering looked great on this thing. The edges looked great. Like I said, same thing on the surface. You can't really tell, but from what I could see through the slab, it looked pretty good. On the corners, I thought it was a coin flip. I'm not sure if I can, there you go. So that corner looks awesome. Awesome. So these corners look really good. There's just a little white on the back corner here. There you go. Looks pretty good, pretty good. So it's really just this back corner. That's why BGS gave it a 9 in terms of the corners. We see there I got a 10. I should have slowly revealed that, but you see that's a 10. So the difference there, I gained probably about $2,000 with that being a PSA 10 over the value of a BGS 9.5 with that 9 autograph. And a PSA 9, I've got about $1,300 or so as the PSA 9, right? So really what that comes down to is that I risked about $1,200 to gain about $2,000, right? And this is part of my PC. I don't plan on selling this. The PSA Pop report There's about 60 of these PSA 10s. I think this is going to be a huge card. I'm a huge believer in Burrow. So I'm going to be keeping this card. And what this has allowed me to do actually is I've got another Burrow autograph. It's a BGS 9.5. I'm actually considering sending that one in. But I could also sell that if I wanted to and get a different card because I'm super happy having a PSA 10. I don't necessarily feel the need to have another one. But this has opened up the possibilities of me sending in that one because I think that one looks really, really good too. It didn't have the 9 autograph on it, and actually I have it right here. I'll show it to you really quickly. This one, I didn't really feel the need to send it in simply because it's not a true gem. But this is a beautiful card with a 10 autograph. Really doesn't, you look at it and it doesn't kind of make you wince in seeing a 9 autograph. But this one's in really good condition. So the centering you see is it's a 10, and I would completely agree with that. It's beautiful centering. The edges look just fine. They look great. 9.5, awesome. Surface, there's that risk, just like we talked about the Luciano, that they have given this surface a 9.5, but there's actually some sort of print line. It's hard to tell sometimes. So that's certainly a risk. And why screw this up? It's a beautiful card. Well, I'll tell you, if I were going to sell this one, it would probably be, $2,700, $2,800, maybe $3,000, right? But $4,500 if this is a PSA 10, right? So I've been doing a lot of, let's see, there we go. I've been doing, a lot of sports card stuff over the last couple of years. And I found that the way I've been making money the most is through grading and through, swapping grading companies, right? So like taking BGS 9.5s or SGC 9.5s and trying to cross them over to PSA. PSA 10s are given such a premium in this market, right? The opportunity for arbitrage is like ridiculous right now. I already shared some of those numbers with you. A Luciano BGS 9.5, true gem or close is, about 1,000, like I said, and a PSA 10 is 2,800. Like that's ridiculous, right? And then honestly, if you miss on the BGS 9.5 and it grades down to a PSA 9, you're out some money, but it's nothing like the reward that you would get if it's a PSA 10. So I just love the risk reward in all of these, right? And you look at it, and if you were to do, say, 50% of these that you were able to improve upon the grade, meaning a PSA 10 versus a PSA 9, if you were able to do 50% of these, you would make a huge killing on all of these, right? If you were able to do that at a large scale, and these are big cards, of course, but if you were able to do that on a large scale, you could make a ton of money doing this, right? And the way I like to do it is, if I'm making money, then I'm building up my PC, right? That's what I like to do. I love the grading aspect. I think of it as almost like ripping wax, right? Like opening boxes, figuring out what you have in there. I mean, I love doing that too. But this has been the most surefire way I can find to make money in this hobby, and honestly make a lot of money doing it, right? So I would just say there are some other opportunities that I've got going. There are other purchases that I've made, and I'll share a few with you right now, actually. So this is one I just purchased, super excited about. This is the Kaboom. This is the short print of Joe Burrow's Kaboom. This would be sweet for my PC. I bought a 9.5 because I actually really trust SGC's grades. And I think there are so many 9.5s out there that would be PSA 10s. I really do. I mean, you'd obviously be even more confident in it if it were an SGC 10. I think most SGC 10s would probably cross over to a PSA 10. I honestly think SGC grades harder than PSA in my experience. And I think it's a significant amount of experience over the last couple of years, quite honestly, and how much I've graded. So I was considering cracking this and sending it in. And I'm still considering doing it because I believe a PSA in this is about $200 less than what the SGC 9.5 is, right? So if you're looking purely from a valuation perspective, this card in a 10, so this is a $2,000 card, 9.5 SGC, right? The last comp for a PSA 9 was about $1,750. So that's $250, if this thing comes back a 9. And then the upside is there was a recent comp for a PSA 10 that was just over $7,000. So think about that. You are risking $250 plus the grading fee, so $400 or so, for the possibility of this being a $7,000 card. So your reward is $5,000. You're risking about $400. I mean, that risk reward, I will take that all day long, right? Let me show you a couple other cards. I haven't done much research into the pricing here, but this is one that I purchased with the intent of trying to cross over. Once again, centering 10, edges 9.5, surface 10, corners 9. These corners look awesome. So I am definitely going to be sending that in. And then this is a Lubob I purchased for $1,600. I think it's closer value to $1,800, $1,850. It was a good deal, and I thought, hey, it may be an opportunity to upgrade the grade to a PSA 10, cross over to get a PSA 10. However, if you look at this bottom right-hand corner, you can see why it graded a 9 for the corners. And I think they graded it fairly. That's a 9 corner for sure down there. So honestly, if I sent this into PSA, I bet you it would come back a 9. So I'm actually going to, I'm going to keep this as it is. I think that would actually devolve the grade and I wouldn't make my money back there. And I would definitely lose money on it for sure. Anyhow, so, that's kind of how I'm thinking right now. I also bought another Shohei Ohtani 2018 Topps Update Gold. It was an SGC 9.5. It looks really good. I'm going to do a video specifically on all of the cards that I purchased to do crossover with. And I'm going to, crack them. I'm going to send them and I'm going to show you exactly what the grades were that came back. But I think I've kind of demonstrated in this video what kind of arbitrage opportunities there are if you want to purchase, an SGC 10 or 9.5 or a BGS 9.5 in order to try and flip it to a PSA 10. I would focus probably on the centering or the corners. BGS seems to ding the corners significantly and more so than I think PSA does. Also centering, centering could be a 60-40 for PSA 10. BGS, there are a number of BGS 9.5s with 9 centering that I'm sure would absolutely cross over to be a PSA 10, right? So as long as you are winning more than you're losing in terms of absolute numbers on that, the dollar figures also are going to be significantly higher, right? With those PSA 10s, the reward would be much higher than what you're really risking. And I think you can make a ton of money doing that. Anyhow, guys, I hope that you've gained some value from this. If you have, I would certainly appreciate you subscribing to the channel to see more content and also hitting that like button. It really helps. I'm trying to grow the channel. That would be fantastic. So thanks so much, guys. I'll see you next time.